Welcome back to Vancouver, British Columbia. We're at Gastown for the final race of the Canadian Tire National Cycling Series, the Gastown Grand Prix. I'm Rob Falls, and joining me is Eric Moffat. After yesterday's exciting finish to the Tour de White Rock, it's going to be interesting to see if the Gastown Grand Prix can top it. Right now, Roland Green, who's really been the surprise all year long, has the points lead, and he's with Eric Moffat now. Eric?
Thanks, Rob. Roland, it has to have been sort of a dreamlike year for you.
Oh yeah, since the first Canadian Tire race, I've had the jersey, and I sure didn't expect to have it this long. So now that I'm actually here on the final day, it's like a dream. It's just, but it's not over yet. The point spread's fairly close with Gord Fraser in second, and this is a specialty. So I got to be on my toes today. But at the same time, I'm not going to ride a defensive race. I'm going to try and have my best race possible.
Roland Green will have to watch for last year's champion, John McKinley. Of course, Brian Walton can't be counted out. Either can Ron Kiefel of the Coors Light team. And his teammate, big grin for Roberto Gaggioli. LA Sheriff Steve Haig, second at the Tour de White Rock yesterday. And the man chasing Roland Green for the overall points lead, Gord Fraser. This is what the Gastown Grand Prix looks like. They've changed directions from 1 year ago. They have shortened it as 0.9 kilometers, 70 laps with some very tight corners to maneuver. As we pick it up, 57 laps remaining. The first big breakaway belongs to Scott McKinley, number 9, and number 30, Jacques Landry of the Magic Cuts team.
I'm not sure why Jacques Landry's out here with Scott McKinley, a tried and true criterium rider, but Landry maybe thinks he can make some hay for Magic Cuts early in this race.
Landry, very young, 23 years of age, from Quebec City, an Olympian in Barcelona last summer.
On that Canadian Olympic road racing team and team time trial, big strong rider. And he's sort of setting the pace now for Scott McKinley. They'll try and work together and get ahead of the pack. It's a very, very tight course, and here comes the pack, so they're not far behind.
That's a good look there with that camera turn, exactly how much of a lead Landry and McKinley have. Remind you, this is Scott McKinley of the Coors Light team. John McKinley, his brother from the Spago team, was a winner 1 year ago. The 21st running of the Gastown Grand Prix, one of the great criteriums in cycling in North America.
You can see that last corner before the finish line. It's very tight. When you have a big pack like this, you see how carefully they come around. Possible crashes there.
56 laps remaining. Now this is what we have nicknamed the Gassy Jack Wedge, right around Gassy Jack Square. Little wedge that cuts out along Alexander Columbia and then back through Water Street. Some tight turns that they have to maneuver, and this has been the focal point for a lot of attacks and then a lot of regroups too.
That's right, another tight corner around this wedge. Of course, it was raining early in the day, and it's cleared up, and it's a good thing because it's really, really dangerous in the rain.
Especially with the speeds these riders can get up to.
That's right. They're taking it fairly easy right now, but you'll see later in this race, in the final sprints, the speeds were really, really getting very fast.
Speaking of speed, right now McKinley and Landry have started to lap some riders. Those two riders you see directly behind them have been lapped as they make the turn onto the back stretch here at the Gastown Grand Prix. Final corner coming through the start-finish area. Very tight turn there, and if it gets crowded, it could become, I guess, maybe the focal point of a lot of this race strategy. Try to get everybody tight into that last turn. See the laps remaining, 55. They're averaging 1 minute, 10 seconds per lap.
Landry's still looking fairly good here. McKinley, the well-known one in the Coors Light team, to go out early. Landry, of course, in the red and white with the red helmet, Magic Cuts, and the multicolored of McKinley and Coors Light.
There's the rest of the field, and it's so great to see a criterium with a big field in it, because you know it makes it even more interesting. You may have seen just zip by there in the purple jersey, the purple Segoy jersey, which signifies the point lead. That's Roland Green. You know that Roland Green's not going to let somebody like Gord Fraser get too far away. Right now, he'll let those two riders go. And we've got a bit of a bridge here as we take a look. That's number 97. That is Gary Anderson trying to bridge up to the leaders, Landry and McKinley. So Roland Green doesn't mind Landry and McKinley being there, doesn't mind Anderson going, but if Fraser goes, you know that Roland Green's going to be right with Fraser.
And Fraser wants to go as soon as possible. Roland Green, not known as a criterium rider, he's a road rider. So it's a little cat and mouse going on through this whole race.
And one of the great things about a criterium too are the preems, a little bonus money you can pick up for being first across the line. 54 laps remaining. McKinley now starting to take it away from Landry. It does not look like Jacques Landry can hold on any longer. He's falling back, and it looks like he will be absorbed by the pack. So Scott McKinley's decided to make this his race for the time being.
You can see here Jacques Landry is a little bit tired. He's not in the same level as Scott McKinley. In fact, he was riding a little behind. You see as the pack comes around these corners, they're just taking it easy.
Now it is McKinley again. You see him start to swing it out himself. And he's opened up quite a lead over Landry. And Landry has been caught by Roberto Gaggioli. Good criterium rider.
Gaggioli wants to get up with his teammate. Of course, this is a great criterium team. So they'll be setting their paces. This may be a move by McKinley to make sure that Gaggioli again is near the front at the end of this race.
So McKinley has taken the race out and has set the pace. Gaggioli is trying to join him and pretty much make this a 1-2 punch. Again, coming through Water Street and the start-finish area. Last year they raced in the opposite direction over a longer course. Now 53 laps over a 0.9 kilometer course, the Gastown Grand Prix. Now zipping through Gassy Jack Square as they head through the wedge. Gaggioli in pursuit of his teammate, Scott McKinley.
McKinley continues to look back to see if Gaggioli has the oomph to get up with him this early in the race. And it doesn't look like it right now. McKinley just looks too strong for everybody.
Gaggioli and the rest of the field. So Gaggioli wasn't able to break away from the pack too successfully, so he's been reeled back in.
Way too early usually for Roberto to do that kind of thing, so he just is going to sit back in the pack along with Landry, who made that flyer earlier in the race, and wait till later on.
And the complexion and the feel of something like a criterium over 70 laps can change so many times.
Sure, if there's a little crash, take out a lot of the top riders near the front, so the way that this race unfolds can change quickly.
Scott McKinley from the Coors Light team has got the lead. You saw him look under his arm to see exactly what kind of lead he has as he makes the turn. The final turn coming again through the start-finish area, the swing back, and you see the Saturn wearing number 4, that is Bob Mianski. The Gastown Grand Prix, one of the classics, will continue here on CTV Sports. Welcome back to beautiful British Columbia for the Canadian Tire Gastown Grand Prix. Yesterday was the Tour de White Rock. It is now on the city streets in the Gastown district, and the story, the 24-year-old from the Coors Light team, Sacramento, California's Scott McKinley. 45 laps remaining. McKinley has decided to take the race away. And right now, Eric, we're in an interesting part of this race. It is the Vancouver Sun fastest lap. He has just set a lap time of 1:11:59, and there's cash on the line.
Cash on the line is right. This is a great feature of this race. Adds a lot of excitement to the middle part, and that is that in 5 laps, the fastest time building up, you can win a total of $3,000.
Not a bad piece of change to take home, and right now it is Coors Light who is benefiting from having Scott McKinley out front.
Scott McKinley was told to go out front early in this race, maybe to earn some money, but also Lynn Pettyjohn, the manager of Coors Light, wants him to test everybody and maybe wear out the field and set this up for Gaggioli for a win.
So picking up the team a little extra cash doesn't hurt on your trip north. And right now Scott McKinley has done that. He is making the turn. See him swing around back onto Water Street as he gets ready to go through the start-finish area and tries to better 1:11:59 to pick up some money. He has done it. 44 laps to go, and he has picked up a little extra cash for Coors Light.
Very consistent riding. Only a 4 seconds, but that's good enough to win another lap.
1:11:55 was that lap time. So if he equals or betters it, more money. And the rest of the field tries to bridge that gap that McKinley has set up. Bob Mianski is in the front of that chase group, along with people like Jeff Pierce of the LA Sheriff, as well as Roberto Gaggioli, McKinley's teammate.
Everybody in the pack, unfortunately, out of this money as McKinley is way in front and looking for more cash.
The time to beat, you saw it on the screen, 1:11:55. These riders now want to know exactly what McKinley is on and what's in that water bottle because they have not been able to catch him. So again, McKinley coming through the backstretch, ready to make the turn as he's picked up his pace. He knows what is on the line. As you said, Len Pettyjohn explained the entire system to him, and he is working it to perfection.
Watch him pedal through these turns. He's not taking it easy. He's got a good style down over his bars, and that'll really help him.
43 laps remaining. He equaled it, 1:11:55, so he picks up cash for tying it. Talk about consistency.
That is. McKinley was injured a couple of years ago when he crashed and has been sort of bounced around on several teams, but last year he won the Canadian Olympic Trials race up in Ottawa. Of course, he didn't qualify, being an American, but it got him a good ride at Coors Light.
This is a 70-lap race, 0.93 kilometers per lap, and it began the first break with McKinley and Jacques Landry. Now it is simply McKinley working on 1:11:55 in the Vancouver Sun fastest lap.
The last several years, but never has one man.
One of the LA Sheriffs, you see him in the green jersey with the yellow helmet. That is number 10, the veteran Jeff Pierce, the captain of the team. McKinley making the swing around again. Back through the cobblestones, then on to the start-finish area.
Vancouver Sun fast lap number 5. Last chance to break it. And look at this.
Gonna try to break it. Whoa, 1:11:65. He was not able to break it, so he loses some cash. But he still knows that he has to beat 1:11:55 with 42 laps remaining.
Couldn't beat his own time, but I'll bet you on this last lap when there's all the cash, the $1,000 for this one lap, that he's really going to store it up and go after it.
So now, after missing that one preem, McKinley knows that he's really got to head down, bear through, pick up that final one, which is the best one, $1,000. Time to beat 1:11:55, and McKinley just took that one break there, but he's been pedaling through everything.
As we say, no flies on his face. Alert young man.
Head down, pedaling all the way through. He's got to be hurting a little bit because he took the race out with Landry, has stayed there. It'll be interesting to see how much he has. He's got a teammate, the front of the pack, that is Ron Kiefel with him, and Kiefel is ahead of McKinley's brother from the Spago team, John McKinley, the defending champion.
104, Vancouver Sun gets what they get. $1,000.
Wow. 107 even, wins $1,000 for Scott McKinley in the Vancouver Sun fastest lap.
McKinley's Coors Light teammates doing their work, holding back the rest of the group so he could make the money in this one.
And of course now his Coors Light teammate like him a lot more. 41 laps remaining in this 70-lap event, a classic in North American cycling, the Gastown Grand Prix. The pack trying to close in on Scott McKinley, who's had such a terrific run off the top end. Now this has been a pretty good race for the McKinleys. 1 year ago, it was brother John who was in a sprint with Chris Huber of Coors Light. You'll see him coming on the far side of the screen. It is Huber and John McKinley this time. John McKinley holds him off. 1 year ago, the race went in the opposite direction, but it was in the right direction for John McKinley.
And look at the look of determination on John McKinley. He knows Huber's got great legs here as they come up to the finish line and just pushes his arms forward, little thrust, and gets it across the finish line. Wow, just a tire width.
Terrific finish last year. Now it is brother Scott who's trying to hold off the pack, but on that shot there, as we pick it up now with 35 laps remaining, it does not look promising.
I'm not so sure that he just wants the pack to catch him now. He's expended a lot of energy and done a lot of his job for Coors Light, so he might just be content to sit back in the pack now for the rest of the race and help out at the end.
As you mentioned, Eric, Len Pettyjohn, team manager for Coors Light, said the plan was to send a man out early. Twofold, to see exactly how fast the rest of the pack would go. Secondly, to pick up all the money. They did the money thing. They know exactly what the pack's going to do. Now they can start to set up, I think, a second or third strategy that they might have in mind.
With a tight criterium like this, I think their strategy is going to be to get down to these final laps. They have great support riders in Kiefel and McKinley and Swart and Huber, and they're going to try and dominate this race and get Gaggioli out front.
This also, as now you can see McKinley rejoin the group. In fact, he had a quick word with one of his teammates. He'll get a chance to rest.
Ron Kiefel off the front, the great international rider, rode with Motorola and Steve Bauer last year, veteran Tour de France rider. You've seen him climbing the Alpe d'Huez in the Tour de France. He's just an incredible support rider, so you'll see him stay out front, and hopefully Coors Light, for him anyway, will stay in front as well.
34 laps remaining. Now Ron Kiefel is starting to set the pace. He's got a 3-man break and then 2 more and then the pack. So really not a huge lead. But again, it looks like Kiefel of Coors Light is trying to test the rest of the field, see what they've got in their legs.
In the pack, of course, the purple jersey of Roland Green, the series leader, and Gord Fraser of Miami Health Share. They've got to be playing their own little game to see who's going to be up near the front at the end of this race. But right now, I think they're testing each other. The whole group are just sitting in and seeing what's going to happen after this sort of middle section of the race.
So that's one of the terrific things about a criterium. You can always see the complexion of the race change. We saw it with McKinley and Landry right off the top. Then McKinley by himself. Now, as we can see, things are changing again, and John McKinley, last year's winner, has started to fold himself in the lead. And along with him is number 19. You saw him in the red jersey, Blair Sanders of Nias-Laval.
It's like a preem lap, and John McKinley picks up a few more dollars with 33 laps to go. He knows what to do on this race course, having won here last year. It's a little tighter, but he's a very strong rider.
John McKinley trying to see if he can complete the double. Last time back-to-back championships were hosted, 82-83 Ron Heyman. And he was in the middle of a back-to-back-to-back, winning in 81, 82, and 83. John McKinley taking a look at the field in hot pursuit here in the Gastown Grand Prix.
Chris Huber now of Coors Light moving out front. They just have so many strong riders. This guy, it looks like Darth Vader with those glasses. He's always in there. As you know, he's in the final sprint last year. He seems to be in this every year.
So Huber and Gogan took it out as they get ready on this 33rd lap remaining to try to take it away from the field. Interesting little break, but can they hold on? Also out there is Polinetti of the LA Sheriffs. So a 3-man break as they come through, getting ready now through the start-finish area. 32 laps remaining in this 70-lap race, a classic of cycling in Canada, the Gastown Grand Prix. We'll have more coming up. One of the sights to see while you're in Vancouver, Stanley Park, there on the right. Vancouver, the location for the Canadian Tire Gastown Grand Prix. Rob Folds along with Eric Moffat as you see them come through the start-finish area in the Gastown district. 24 laps remaining in this 70-lap criterium. 0.93 kilometers per lap. Very tight, very fast. We've got a breakaway. 2 men have decided to test the field, and 2 very good riders. Number 47, Miami Health Share's Gord Fraser, who is second in the point standing, so an interesting break for him. And Coors Light, Ron Kiefel wearing number 5.
We talked earlier about how Gord Fraser needs to get away from Roland Green, the series leader, if he wants to win this overall title. He's done that, but of course Ron Kiefel, the ultimate support rider for Coors Light, not letting anyone get too far ahead.
And you can see on that camera move that they're not getting too far ahead. About 7 seconds is the lead between Fraser and Kiefel, and leading that chase group, Brian Walton, a man who won this race in 1988.
And as you see Gord Fraser in the green helmet leading Ron Kiefel there in that mini break. The speed of this race has increased, the pace, and I think that was due to Scott McKinley.
Well, McKinley certainly tested the field, took it out on his own. Now these 2 riders are trying to check out, with 23 laps remaining, how much speed is left in everybody's legs in the Gastown Grand Prix. For Gord Fraser, it's doubly important because he is trying to pick up vitally important points to pass Roland Green in the Canadian Tire Series.
It's been a good year. Been riding really well since the spring. Unfortunately, I missed about half of these races, so I've had a lot of points to catch up, but It's not over yet. Roland got some points on me yesterday, but I think maybe I can, if I do a good race, maybe I can make some points, and you never know, I might be able to take the title.
So Fraser lost a couple of points to Roland Green at the Tour de White Rock. He and Ron Kiefel are still in the lead, and you can see the group trying to bridge that gap with the lead duo.
And Paul and Eddie of Chevy LA Sheriffs, after doing all that work yesterday in the Tour de White Rock, is back in the hunt right behind Kiefel.
You see Kiefel and Fraser now getting ready to pass a rider, so they're starting to lap the field, and now Gord Fraser is taking it out. Here's Fraser coming through the start-finish area, and Fraser's jumped the rest of the gang, trying to see if he can get a lead. 22 laps remaining for Gord Fraser. A very gutsy move with so much time left.
Very gutsy. 22 laps is a long time. His IME HealthShare teammates have not been helping too much in the pack, and so he's going to really have to ride well if he wants to maintain this.
He saw what Scott McKinley did earlier by breaking away. Now whether or not Fraser can get that kind of lead will be interesting to see, but this pack, I believe, is going to work so well together that for Fraser, he could maybe just be seeing exactly what they've got.
Also, as long as he's in front of Roland Green, he's in good shape.
And the 25-year-old from Ottawa, Ontario, looks to be in pretty good shape. See the field pressing hard to try to narrow the gap that Fraser has opened up.
He's actually done very well this year, considering he had a lot of races in the States. IME HealthShare based in Boston, and he still is in second place. It's interesting to note that if he'd been here all season, he may well be the leader.
It's been a terrific event, the Gastown Grand Prix, as they come through the start-finish area. And look at Roberto Gaggioli now from Coors Light trying to make the move to catch Gord Fraser. And for Fraser, it does not look like he will be able to hold on to that lead, especially with the speed the chase group has picked up.
Gord Fraser is an amateur. He can use that $200 premium he just won, too.
So he picked up $200. Fraser still in the lead. The Vancouver Jazz Festival is on, and at midnight, they tore down the Jazz Festival stages that were in Gastown to set up the course for the Grand Prix. It has been an amazing technical event just to get everything set up. And as soon as the Grand Prix is over, they'll tear it down and set up the Jazz stages again. Busy in Vancouver in the summertime. Busy right now for Gord Fraser as he tries to hold off the group in pursuit. And I believe that is Scott and John McKinley, the McKinley boys in the chase group.
A little family teamwork as they're drawing ever closer. Of course, because there are no Spago teammates for John McKinley, he'll be able to work with Coors Light and his brother early in the race, but if he gets too close to the end, they'll probably see a little bit different idea.
Yeah, family loyalties are only good around Christmas and birthdays. When you get to a cycling race in the crunch, they don't care. You saw Fraser turn around. He really let up. He knows for a fact that he does not have to worry anymore. His time in the front is done. Scott McKinley has bridged very neatly. 20 laps to go here in the Gastown Grand Prix. 21st running of this event. It is a classic in Canadian cycling, and riders from across North America make a point of coming to Vancouver.
It's known as the best criterium in North America, and there's good money here, good racing. That's why you see so many strong teams.
And some great conditions as well. You can see here going through Gassy Jack Wedge, they've got the cobblestones there as they're just going across, then the smooth pavement again. If there's any adverse conditions, any rain at all, this course becomes extremely difficult. We saw it earlier in the day when there was some rain during the cadet races, that once those cobbles get wet, look out, it is spill-orama. So far it has stayed dry, the sun is out, and it's made it a fast, tight course for these excellent riders. And look who's starting to flex some muscle off the front with 19 laps remaining, a pair of Coors Light riders.
Just like they planned, they want to keep them up front or near the front. Gaggioli right on McKinley's wheel. They've got other riders like Kiefel, Swart, and Huber back, holding the other riders back, and then you see the red helmet of Gord Fraser still hanging in there. As long as he's in front of Roland Green, he can pick up some points, but that's a classic Coors Light move at this point.
You can see it's ponytails up front, McKinley and Gaggioli. As they're trying to break away, you've got Gord Fraser there as well.
John McKinley bringing up the rear there in the pink and yellow jersey with the white helmet, the defending champion.
Now Gaggioli takes his turn off the lead. Fraser, number 47, so Gaggioli followed by teammate McKinley, Fraser, and then the other McKinley, John McKinley, last year's champion.
Boy, that corner's getting tighter and tighter as this race gets faster.
Trying to pick up the pace to try to separate the field. The Gastown Grand Prix has got some prestigious history behind it in the 21st running. Jamie Polinetti is the man from the LA Sheriffs, green jersey, number 12, trying to bridge this lead group of 4. And with 18 laps remaining, we'll see if this group of 4 can hold on. Stay with us. We're coming back to BC for more of the Canadian Tire Gastown Grand Prix. That's the best way to beat the rush hour in Vancouver. One of the terrific vistas you can see. We're here in Vancouver for the Canadian Tire Gastown Grand Prix. Just 4 laps remaining. Rob Falls along with Eric Moffat. Only 39 racers have been able to weather this course. It is going to be a great finish. And now we are starting to see another race strategy form. The blue, the white, and the red of the Coors Light team starting to dot up the front of the pack.
Their strength, their power should really start to show now. Ron Kiefel, the veteran of the European Wars, leading the way as sort of the unofficial captain here. And they're going to try and get all the riders out front, push back the Steve Heggs of the Chevy LA Sheriffs and the Gord Frasers, whoever is there, and set up their man, Roberto Gaggioli.
I think what has been neat to watch in this entire race is the plan that Coors Light came in with. They let Scott McKinley go out with Jacques Landry to test the field. Then McKinley took it out by himself to pick up a lot of pre-money and again to get the feeling on how strong the field was. Then he faded back. Kiefel took off along with Gord Fraser again as a test to the rest of the field. And now with just 3 laps remaining on this very tight 0.93 kilometer course, Coors Light is finishing off the entire game plan by clogging up the front.
They don't care about Gord Fraser of IME. They don't care about Roland Green, the overall Canadian Tire Series. They're worried about Chevy LA Sheriffs. You see Jeff Pierce there, Steve Hegg. They're the ones that they want to beat. And they've been doing it all over the U.S. this year. And that's why they're so strong right now.
So as Coors Light starts to gather force, we see them first 2, then the 4th rider and the 6th rider. Now they are 1, 2, 3, 5. And there's another rider in there as well. You see Roberto Gaggioli. He is on the inside. He's trying to get himself worked in, and we'll exactly see how they shape this up.
You can see like Chris Huber. Yep, Chris Huber and McKinley looking over his shoulder, making sure there's still Jeff Pierce in the middle of that bunch. They want to get 1 through 5. See Pierce there in the yellow helmet. And that's why they're sort of trying to crowd him out. On each turn, you'll see they're trying to push him back, and eventually you're going to end up. We've got 1 through 4, 1 left for a perfect setup.
2 laps remaining in the Gastown Grand Prix, and Coors Light is flexing muscle, big time muscle.
Now back in the pack, where's Gord Fraser of IME and Roland Green of Espoir Laval, because they have to worry about getting at least near each other so they can do their point thing.
You very quickly see Roland Green in the purple Segoy Leaders jersey go by, but right now, forget about purple because it is red, white, and blue of Coors Light. They have Ron Kiefel, Roberto Gaggioli, Dave Mann, Chris Huber, and Scott McKinley off the front end.
This is such a tight course that we talked about, and it's very hard to pass 5 riders from the same team.
Here's Kiefel in the lead, swinging around, getting ready to come into that final tight turn. And hear the call for the last lap.
Man, that is a tight final turn. The speed is really fast now. You can look for a dangerous final lap if they're not careful.
Great shot there as the captain of the Coors Light team raised his hand very quickly to say, follow me, boys. 1 lap left.
And signaling Roberto Gaggioli to make sure he knows when to do his slingshot. It's like on the basketball court when the guard raises his hand and gives a number, they know what play.
So Chris Huber right now is off the lead. He's got Kiefel right behind him, and you're going to have to watch for Roberto Gaggioli, who's the man with the legs and the sprint. He is in 5th position right now. He'll start to make his move.
It's the classic slingshot. All they'll do is set him up. He'll come into the final turn, hopefully on the inside, and it'll just be sprint to the finish.
Here's Kiefel now. Oh, a bit of a bump there
Wow.
between Kiefel and Huber.
Almost disaster.
Huber, who was in the sprint last year with John McKinley, right now he is leading his team, trying to get Roberto Gaggioli into position. Here comes Gaggioli around the final turn. Great turn. Oh, it's very tight. Fraser's down. Coors Fraser's gone down. Here's Roberto Gaggioli. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 Coors Light. A sweep of the Gastown Grand Prix. What a great race strategy, turning into victory for Roberto Gaggioli.
Look at this. What a mess. Incredible how tight that is.
Again, as they come around the turn, here's Gaggioli through very quickly. Kiefel, oh, it's
And
Fraser who
Fraser
loses his
caused it. He went a little wide there. We don't know why, but boy, I'll tell you, that really hurts when you have all the spikes and people land on top of you.
And amazingly enough, it doesn't appear anybody is seriously hurt. There'd be a fair bit of road rash there. But Roberto Gaggioli, Coors Light, the 1, 2, 3 sweep. McKinley and Kiefel, followed by Rover and Schomer.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to my team. Today I won the race, but all the team do a really great job. How you see it in the last 5 laps, I have a 4 teammate in the front and nobody can pass us. That was really great.
This is when you share the prize money. Roberto Gaggioli ahead of Scott McKinley and Ron Kiefel of Coors Light. A 1, 2, 3 sweep of the Gastown Grand Prix. Now overall on this weekend, beginning with the Tour de White Rock yesterday, becomes Gaggioli #1, followed by Brian Walton and Steve Haig.
A bronze medal. Fraser.
But it is still the youngster, the phenom, Roland Green of Victoria, BC, of Niall Espoir-Laval, who is the overall Canadian Tire Champion ahead of Gord Fraser and Steve Rover. The team, Magic Cuts, followed by Reynolds Volkswagen, and Roland Green's team in third, Niall Espoir-Laval.
Bid you adieu on behalf of all the sponsors.
Just a terrific weekend of racing to wrap up the Canadian Tire Cycling Series, Eric, beginning with the road race in White Rock.
What a great couple of races that was. Marianne Berglund proving that she's more than a sprinter and holding off Clara Hughes and Team Kahlua. On the men's side, Brian Walton and that great finish over Steve Haig.
Then they moved downtown to Gastown, and the weather held up. No rain, meaning the course became very fast and a sprinter's course.
Oh man, the women's criterium, if you don't get rid of Marianne Berglund early in a race, you'll have her there at the end, and that's what she did to win 2 in a row. Of course, on the men's side, there it was again, Roberto Gaggioli and Coors Light. They controlled the late stages of the race and set it up perfectly.
Overall winners, Roland Green and Clara Hughes, showing that there's some very good riders in Canada.
Yeah, and the young riders, I think we can look forward to seeing them in '96 and the Olympics.
Well, we've had a terrific time showing you these races and hope you've enjoyed them too. For Eric Moffat and our entire CTV crew, I'm Rob Fald saying so long from Vancouver, British Columbia.